Hi guys, and welcome to the SGG709 review. We'll start right away by looking at the measurements of this watch. You can tell that this is a very small watch. As a matter of fact, the SGG709 is a unisex watch. This is a piece that I've bought from a woman, but I'm very comfortable wearing it as a man. However, I must say that I do have pretty small wrists. They are right around 6¼ inches, and you can see that it looks very good on me. But for you guys with bigger wrists, you will probably find it a bit underwhelming. It has a super sleek case. You can see here that the lugs are curved, and it has a very thin 8mm profile, which makes it perfect for you guys that like to slide it in under your shirt cuffs. It will do the job just fine. And I also think that the lugs are a bit elongated, but it's not a problem since the finish is good and the edges are very smooth. So it is still a very comfortable watch to wear, even though it has pretty long lugs. I usually don't talk about the weight of my watches, but since it is the titanium's main benefit, I feel the need to talk about it. So this SGG709 comes in at 64 grams, and this includes the bracelet, so it is a very light timepiece. As a matter of fact, titanium will be right around 50% lighter than your average stainless steel, so this is something that you will feel undoubtedly on your wrist. An other benefit of titanium is that it is right around 3 times as strong as your average stainless steel, which makes it almost impossible to break. It looks very good on paper, but in practice it's not very useful because I don't know about you guys, but I've never broken a watch case or a watch bracelet, so it's nice to know that it's stronger, but not really useful. Titanium does come with a few downsides, of course. The first one being that it is a softer material than steel, so it will be a bit easier to scratch. Fortunately, there's a fix. You can buy a fiberglass pen, which will fix these scratches right up. Another downside of titanium is that it is a bit more expensive than stainless steel, so you will pay a premium price for this watch compared to a stainless steel alternative. Not only is the case made of titanium, but the whole bracelet is also made of titanium, which once again sounds very good on paper, but in practice is a bit disappointing because you can see that Seiko uses very cheap methods like folded links, hollow end links. Even the clasp is extremely thin. So it would have been nice if the bracelet had, let's say, solid links or a better clasp. But since it has all these cheap materials, you will probably just end up swapping it out for something third party. So I don't see the point of using titanium for the bracelet if most people will not even use this bracelet. I also feel like it is a bit feminine. It starts out pretty thin pretty narrow, at 20mm. And it gets even narrower towards the buckle. It will be right around 16mm. So this makes it feel very feminine to me. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy it if you're a man, but if you're buying it as a man, definitely buy a third-party strap at the same time, so you will get both when it arrives. We can now move on to the specs of this SGG709. You can see on the dial that Seiko proudly displays the titanium script because this is where most of your money goes. Just underneath this script, you have a 50 meters water resistance rating, which means that this SGG709 can be taken for a swim. However, I never recommend swimming with a watch that has an unguarded push and pull crown like this one, because you could very well pull it out by accident underwater, which would ruin the whole watch. On top of this dial is Seiko's Hardlex crystal, which is their proprietary hardened mineral crystal. It will get scratched up pretty usually, This one has been taken care of very well, so it doesn't have any visible scratches yet, but I feel like it's only a matter of time. Pair that with the fact that it has a titanium case, which is also pretty easy to scratch. It makes this watch not a beater watch in my opinion. This is not a piece that you can wear every day and take throughout your daily activities because it will get scratched up very quickly if you're not careful. But I think it makes a perfect weekend watch or a timepiece that you will wear every once in a while. This is definitely perfect for that. As I said earlier, this is a quartz watch that is powered by Seiko's 7N43 caliber. You can see here, which is a very basic quartz movement. It will have an average accuracy, so plus or minus 15 seconds per month. And the only special feature that I can think of is the end of life indicator, which means that the second hand will start ticking every 2 seconds instead of every second as soon as you start running low on battery. Speaking of which, Seiko's OEM battery lasted only 2.5 years before I had to change it, which is very short for such a simple 3-hand movement. I was a bit disappointed. I recently changed the battery for an Energizer one, so we will see how this goes. But the OEM battery was definitely disappointing. To close out the specs segment, we're going to take a look at the SGG709's Lume shot. You can see that the pips as well as the hands are painted with Seiko's Lume Bright formula. This one is very functional, but it is nothing to write home about. Definitely not on par with Seiko's diver watches, but it will still be functional and help you read the time in a darker setting. Alright, so the styling of the SGG709 in my opinion is absolutely gorgeous. It is also super versatile, so this is the type of watch that you can wear in a formal outfit if you have the right leather band with it, or you could downplay it and use a NATO strap to wear it in a casual outfit, let's say with a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. I think it would look awesome. And with a pair of jeans, it would be perfect because it has a blue dial, which, as you can tell, has a very heavy sunburst finish. This is one of Seiko's best blue dial in my opinion. When I compare it to my SNK 807, which is also blue but in a much darker shade, this one looks 10 times better. You can tell that it goes from a very dark blue, almost black, to a purplish hue under the right lighting, so a very playful dial that I like a lot. The rest of the dial, well, you get Seiko's usual attention to detail. So the applied button indices have a nice finish, and then they have beveled edges. I don't know if I'm able to pick it up on camera, but they have this small beveling here. Same thing for the day-date display. It has quite a thick frame and it also bevels down. I'm usually not a big fan of negative day-date displays like this one, but I think the SGG709 pulls it off because the blue dial and the black background of the day-date display, it makes for a nice contrast that makes it look pretty good and makes it also very legible. The sword hands, I must say, they are a bit simple, a bit bland. I would have loved to see something a bit more exotic, if you will, like a set of Dauphine hands or Alpha hands. But I'm conscious that you cannot get everything that you want for this price point. You have to make some concessions at some point, and I'm perfectly fine with that. And I also think that by putting Dauphine hands on this watch, it would probably cannibalize from the sales of higher priced Seiko watches. So I totally get why they use these basic sword hands. The case is mostly brushed all over, except for a few peculiar areas, like in between the lugs here. You can see that it is a beads blasted finish instead, which is the same finish that you get on this very simple and plain case back. So also beads blasted. You only get a Seiko engraving and a few lines of text to talk about the model and etc. So very simple case, but super functional. I like it a lot, and it goes very well with this dial in my opinion. To conclude, this is a watch that used to retail for $129, which made it a pretty good bargain for a titanium watch with this level of finish. Unfortunately, it has been discontinued for a bit, so you will have to look at the pre-owned market to find your model. If you're lucky like me, you can find a decent example like this one for a bit under $100, which makes it still a good bargain to this day. If you're someone that enjoys light watches that you will forget that you're wearing, this is perfect for you. But for everyone else, maybe you're better off buying a stainless steel alternative for 70 or 80 bucks. It will probably do the job just fine. So that's my opinion on it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. If you enjoyed this review, please leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys around next video.